Alright, today we're going to talk about batteries. Motorcycle batteries are the same design as automotive batteries, with a couple of exceptions. Most notably, they're a lot smaller. Now, motorcycle engines are pretty large, powerful, and have high compression, which requires a lot of power to turn them over and get them started. So let's talk about your basic motorcycle battery. Your basic motorcycle battery is one of two types. The lead acid battery, which means it has liquid sulfuric acid in it, which is what most people are familiar with, but the more modern and more efficient AGM, absorbed glass matte battery. Now, most people are used to the lead acid battery. It has caps on the top for filling up the acid, which is maintenance-wise one of the most important things is to check and make sure your acid level is full. Now let's define full. When you pull one of your caps off of this, you use a pair of pliers, or most of them are just finger tight, and you look down in the hole, you will see the lead of the lead plates down inside there. Now the water, your sulfuric acid, needs to be covering the lead plate at all times. That means even when your bike is sitting on its kickstand at an angle, that the sulfuric acid level needs to be above the plates. Once the plate starts to dry out, it starts to build up a corrosive substance, a corrosion that stops the electrolytes from moving back and forth, creating electricity, makes your battery less efficient. When the battery, a lead acid type battery, heats up and charges and expands, it needs some place for the air to go as it expands. You'll see a vent tube. If you have a lead acid type battery on your bike, you'll see a vent tube that goes somewhere. Make sure that little plastic tube goes somewhere out the bottom of the motorcycle. Sulfuric acid is dangerous, very corrosive, it's flammable, and it's explosive. So it's very important that that vent tube be securely attached to the battery and run out completely to the bottom of the bike. If you have it run out short somewhere and it drips sulfuric acid out onto your passenger's pant leg, they're going to be very, very unhappy with you. Sulfuric acid burns skin and eats clothing. Now, to get away from the dangers and the problems with maintenance of the lead acid type battery, the industry has come up with what most people call a sealed battery. There have been several styles of sealed batteries over the years, but the most common one nowadays, the most popular and modern one, is the AGM, absorbed glass matte. It still has lead plates like the old lead acid style battery, but it has fiberglass matting stuffed between the lead plates, and as you can see, the top of the battery is completely sealed. There's no vent, there's no maintenance, there's nothing for you to do but bolt this battery in, and all you have to do is check your connections. You never have to mess with the old dangerous sulfuric acid ever again. These also, AGM batteries also put out a substantially higher cold cranking amps. What a cold cranking amps measurement is how much power this battery can put out at one time to start your motorcycle. Now, besides the maintenance of the sulfuric acid level, on either type of battery, the most common problem with them is the connections. Now, when doing the battery connection, it's very important that you add this thick washer. Without this washer, as you can see, your battery cable can't make a good connection. It'll try to tip over and it won't make a good connection. When you add this washer, it takes up that space and allows you to make a really good, solid, tight connection, which is what your battery needs to get full cranking amps down to your starter. A loose connection creates heat. Heat creates melting. Lead is very soft and will melt very easily. So if you have a loose connection, you will see a melted battery post. Once your battery post starts to melt, unfortunately, you're pretty much stuck having to buy a new battery, and it won't be under warranty because a loose connection is not a warrantable item. 90% of all motorcycle batteries out there, the connecting post is with a 10mm bolt. Very important to remember, most of you riding Harleys are carrying around American tools, and when you go to try to tighten up your battery connections, you're going to try to use a 7/16 wrench, and it's not going to work. Make sure you throw a 10mm wrench in your toolkit that you carry with you. And that way on the side of the road, or you're somewhere that you have a problem, or if you're just doing basic maintenance, you can always take out that 10mm wrench and tighten it down. The bolts on most of these are also made out of lead, which is a very, very soft compound. If you try using the wrong size wrench on it, you'll round out the heads of that bolt very easily. So make sure you have a good 10mm wrench, tighten it down good and snug. Do not use Loctite or Teflon tape or any other type of substance to try to keep that bolt tight. If your battery connections have a problem with coming loose, some people think that the right thing to do is to put something on there to keep them tight at all times. The problem is you have to remember that your battery has to conduct electricity between the battery post and the battery cable. Anything you put on that bolt or in that area is going to stop the electricity from conducting. You want to make sure you don't put anything on the threads or the head of that bolt. Just keeping it good and tight is all it needs, and just through proper maintenance and keeping it snug down is all you need to make a good connection on your battery post. Now, the only other thing as per batteries and battery wires to think of is, so far you've checked your battery connections and they're tight, but follow the cable to the other end. Your positive cable usually goes to the starter. Your negative cable usually goes to somewhere on the frame. Make sure at the other ends of these cables you take a wrench, which is usually American on Harley-Davidsons, whereas it's metric on the battery end. The other end is American, but make sure they're good and snug. Now, be very, very careful. If you touch your wrench against anything metal off this positive side, you're going to get a big surprise. It'll start arcing, sparking, looks like you're in a welding shop. Very bad. So, anytime you're checking the other ends of your cables, disconnect the negative side of your battery. Anytime you're doing most any work on your bike, it's always a good idea to disconnect the negative side of the battery, because it'll save you from doing severe electrical damage to either your starter or any part of your electrical system by accidentally shorting it out with a wrench. Now, on a lot of your lead acid type batteries and some of your AGM sealed batteries, one of the things you'll notice when you look at your battery is you'll see a green fuzzy corrosion up here. The easiest, fastest way to clear that off is to go in your house, get a little plastic cup, and put a little bit of baking soda in a little bit of water, and just pour it over, and it'll just melt that corrosion away. You don't have to take anything apart, you don't have to adjust anything, just pour that over it, let it do its job in 10-15 seconds, and you might want to, if it flushes out on your bike, just take a hose and rinse it off. It should be non-damaging to your bike, non-corrosive, but just in case there's a little bit of sulfuric acid that came out with it, make sure you rinse it off real well. Sulfuric acid, not only by burning skin and eating clothes, will eat chrome. If you look at somebody's bike, that you'll notice will have the chrome, looks like somebody sprayed acid down the side of the bike onto their chrome. That's exactly what happened. Their vent came off and it sprayed sulfuric acid down the side of their bike. It'll eat your paint, it'll eat your chrome, it eats lots of stuff. Sulfuric acid is pretty dangerous. So make sure you do your best that the maintenance on your battery is taken care of so it doesn't leave you on the side of the road or you can't go riding on the day you want to go, and make sure you understand that the sulfuric acid that's in these batteries is very dangerous. If it develops a hole or develops a leak, get it out of there. Get it away from anything that it'll eat and touch. Get to your nearest shop, buy yourself a new battery. All shops that sell batteries will take your old battery in as a cord, no extra charge to you, and you'll be set to go. So taking proper maintenance and care of your battery will keep you running regular and for a long, long time. A well-maintained lead acid battery will last 1 to 3 years. A well-maintained AGM battery will last 2 to 5 years. I've seen them go as long as 6 or 7 years, so long as they're well-maintained and the charging system on your bike is working good. So just a little bit of maintenance will last you a long way.